In just 48 hours, 3i Atlas will make its closest pass to Earth, yet no one can explain the anomalies in its trajectory. Why is this object moving in ways that defy all scientific understanding? And what does its arrival mean for our future? If you're as fascinated by 3i Atlas as we are, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more updates, and tell us in the comments, what do you believe the arrival of this object means for humanity? The universe, vast and seemingly indifferent, has a way of reminding us how small we really are. We spend our days looking up at the stars, imagining what lies beyond the reach of our telescopes, convinced that we are the masters of our own cosmic fate. Yet, in a fleeting moment, the cosmos can shatter that illusion. Enter 3i Atlas, a mysterious interstellar object, a visitor from the depths of space. Its arrival has sparked debates, raised questions, and ignited imaginations across the globe. But this isn't just another stray asteroid or comet, it's something much more. Something that humanity has never seen before, and its implications could change everything. As 3i Atlas begins its slow approach toward our solar system, its first appearance on our radars is met with the same skepticism that always greets the unknown. Scientists, ever the cautious optimists, scan their instruments, analysing the object's trajectory and composition. Initially, it appears just like any other interstellar object, a faint dot drifting silently through the endless expanse of space. But soon, something strange begins to emerge. The object's brightness, its speed, its trajectory, they all seem to defy the rules we have carefully crafted over centuries of astronomical observation. The sheer scale of it, the unnatural way it interacts with its environment, feels wrong. As more data pours in, it becomes clear that we are dealing with something entirely different. For centuries, humanity has gazed up at the night sky, searching for answers to questions that have lingered since the dawn of civilization. Are we alone? What is our place in the grand scheme of the universe? And now, with the arrival of 3i Atlas, these questions feel more urgent than ever before. It isn't just an object passing by. It feels as though it's being guided. It aligns with the ecliptic plane of our solar system in a way that seems too precise to be random. Its trajectory brings it close to several of our planets, including Mars, Venus, and even Jupiter. The chances of such a perfect alignment happening by mere coincidence are so slim that it's almost impossible to ignore the possibility that this object has been intentionally directed. But by whom, and for what purpose? The scientific community watches, puzzled and alarmed. The object doesn't behave like a typical comet or asteroid. As it moves closer, its composition is analysed, and strange readings begin to emerge. It seems to outgas in a way that contradicts everything we know about the behaviour of such objects. Chemical signatures are detected, revealing a mixture of elements that is unusual, almost unnatural. Carbon dioxide, water ice, and traces of other compounds form a pattern that doesn't fit with any known celestial body. It's as if this object is carrying a message, one that humanity isn't ready to understand. But the question lingers, is it simply a comet behaving oddly, or is this something far more profound? What makes the arrival of 3i Atlas so remarkable is the timing. For centuries, astronomers have known that interstellar objects occasionally pass through our solar system, but they are typically too small, too faint, to be noticed before they've already come and gone. But 3i Atlas is different. It's large, it's bright, it's unmistakable, and its trajectory places it on a direct path that will bring it into close proximity to Earth. This is not just a random passing event. This is something that demands our attention, and perhaps, just perhaps, it's been waiting for us to notice. As the object continues its approach, the world holds its breath. What will we discover? What secrets does 3i Atlas carry with it, waiting to be unlocked? And what does it mean for us, for humanity's place in the universe, and for our understanding of space and time? These are questions that we are only beginning to confront, but already we can feel the weight of this moment. We may be witnessing the beginning of a new chapter in human history, one that will forever alter our perspective on life, the cosmos, and our place within it. But what if we're not the first to notice 3i Atlas, What if it wasn't a random visitor after all? What if, just as it appears in our sky, it's been carefully placed in our path, as if it were always meant to arrive at this precise moment? Could it be that we are only now beginning to understand what has been waiting for us all along? Could this event, this object, be part of something far greater than we can comprehend? Something that will change not just our future, but the very fabric of our reality? The answers, as always, lie somewhere in the stars, just beyond our grasp. But one thing is certain. The arrival of 3I Atlas is not just an astronomical event. It's the beginning of a story we have yet to fully understand, one that could change everything. When 3I Atlas first made its presence known, it didn't take long for astronomers and scientists to sit up and take notice. At first glance, it seemed like any other interstellar object, a faint smudge on the radar slowly making its way across the vast emptiness of space. But as more data filtered in, an unsettling pattern began to emerge. This object wasn't supposed to be this bright, this close, or most notably, this timely. From the moment it was detected, 3I Atlas began to defy the expectations of every space agency watching. Its trajectory didn't just appear unusual, it screamed of something far more deliberate, more calculated. The path it was following seemed almost too perfect to be natural. The first clue was its alignment with the ecliptic plane, the flat disk where most of our solar system's planets orbit. Space objects from outside our solar system are typically scattered across random trajectories. No rhyme, no reason, just the whims of gravity and the chaos of the cosmos. But 3I Atlas, as it entered our solar system, aligned almost perfectly with the ecliptic plane. This alignment was an astronomical oddity, something that occurs so rarely that scientists had to pause and reassess their models. The object was behaving as though it had been guided here, not by chance, but by design. As its path began to take shape, it became evident that 3I Atlas wasn't just skimming the outskirts of our solar system. It was passing close to multiple planets in a way that suggested intentional navigation. First, it would pass close to Mars, then Venus, then Jupiter, each flyby at just the right distance to suggest it wasn't a mere cosmic traveller. The probability of an object from deep space coming this close to multiple planets in such a precise manner was almost too unlikely to be coincidental. The odds of such a perfect alignment occurring by chance were calculated, and they were slim, astronomically slim. It wasn't just the path that raised suspicions, it was the speed, the brightness, and the very presence of the object itself. As it grew nearer, 3I Atlas appeared far brighter than any comet or asteroid should at this distance. Objects that come from interstellar space are usually dim, faint, and difficult to detect until they're much closer. But 3I Atlas wasn't just detectable, it was glaringly bright. So much so that astronomers initially questioned their instruments. Was it possible that they had missed something important, something fundamental? As the object continued its approach, the brightness didn't fade, it only grew more pronounced, casting doubts on the assumptions they had about interstellar objects. The trajectory alone was enough to raise red flags, but as the first set of data was released, scientists began to analyse its composition. The chemical signatures were unlike anything they'd encountered before. Comets and asteroids, even those that come from other star systems, have been studied for decades. They follow predictable patterns, their compositions are relatively consistent. But 3I Atlas was different. It didn't behave according to any known rules. Instead of the expected dust and ice composition typical of most comets, this object seemed to contain materials that were either unknown or so rare that they should not have existed in such quantities. This wasn't just another object in the vast emptiness of space, it was something far more complicated. As more data came in, it seemed increasingly likely that 3I Atlas wasn't simply an object that had wandered into our solar system. The way it responded to light, the way it interacted with solar winds, everything about it screamed purpose. Its behaviour didn't fit into any established scientific model. The strange outgassing patterns, the odd chemical composition, and the intensity of its brightness all suggested one thing. 3. Atlas was not a natural phenomenon, at least not in the way we understood natural phenomena, It had been deliberately designed, or at the very least guided. And so, the questions began to mount. What was the true nature of this object? What was its mission, its purpose, and its origin? Was it a signal, a message, or something else entirely? The first signs were so perplexing that they couldn't easily be explained away. The data, while groundbreaking, didn't give any clear answers, only more questions. For every new piece of information, the object seemed to grow more enigmatic. Was this simply a strange comet, or were we looking at something far more significant? Was it an object sent by an advanced civilization, or was it a tool, a scout, or something even more? With each new analysis, it became clearer that this wasn't just an astronomical event. It was the beginning of something far larger, something that could change everything. The first signs had been given, but the real story was just beginning to unfold. The question now wasn't what 3i Atlas was. It was what 3i Atlas meant for the future of humanity and the cosmos. As 3i Atlas continued its approach, the initial excitement surrounding its appearance quickly gave way to a growing sense of confusion and intrigue. What had first seemed like a simple, distant visitor to our solar system was turning into a cosmic puzzle that defied all logic and understanding. The more scientists looked at the data, the clearer it became. This was not a random object drifting through space. This was something far more complex. It was as if the universe had dropped an enigma into humanity's lap. An object that, with every new set of observations, made it increasingly difficult to draw any simple conclusions. From the very beginning, 3i Atlas behaved in ways that didn't conform to the known rules of celestial bodies. Astronomers have spent decades studying comets, asteroids, and other objects that cross our solar system, building models that can predict their behavior with a high degree of accuracy. But 3i Atlas wasn't playing by the same rules. Its composition, its motion, its very presence in our solar system raised more questions than answers. NASA, the European Space Agency, and other space agencies around the world pored over the data, hoping to gain some insight into this strange object. What they found was perplexing. The chemistry of 3i Atlas was unlike anything they had encountered before. Comets, for example, are composed primarily of ice and dust, materials that, when exposed to the sun's heat, vaporize and create a glowing tail. But 3i Atlas was different. It didn't just have ice and dust. Its composition suggested a far more intricate and rare mix of elements. The carbon dioxide levels were unusually high, and the presence of certain metals and gases hinted at an origin that was anything but natural. This was an object that didn't simply follow the expected path of a comet. It was carrying with it an alien chemistry, one that scientists struggled to explain. Even more baffling was the way 3i Atlas outgassed. Comets often release gases as they heat up, creating a tail of vapor and dust, but the outgassing of 3i Atlas was far more intense and chaotic. Instead of a simple, predictable release of gas, the object seemed to be ejecting material in bursts, almost as though it was responding to some external stimulus. The way it outgassed didn't follow the typical patterns seen in natural objects. It seemed deliberate, as if this object was releasing material for a purpose. Yet what that purpose might be, no one could say. Then there was the polarization of light. When light interacts with dust or gas, it becomes polarized, meaning the light waves vibrate in specific directions. Astronomers have studied the polarization patterns of comets and asteroids for years, and each type of object has its own unique signature. But when the light from 3i Atlas was analyzed, the results were unlike anything ever recorded before. The polarization was off the charts, defying expectations and leaving scientists to question whether they were dealing with a natural object at all. Polarization is a key indicator of an object's structure and composition, and the way 3i Atlas scattered light made it clear that this was no ordinary celestial visitor. Its strange behavior, its odd chemistry, its unpredictable outgassing, its bizarre polarization, suggested that 3i Atlas was a far more complex object than initially thought. It wasn't just a comet or asteroid making a casual pass through our solar system. It was something far more intricate, something that didn't fit into the neat little boxes that science had prepared for it. As scientists analysed the object from every possible angle, they realised that 3I Atlas was no ordinary traveller from another star system. Its path, its composition, its behaviour, none of it made sense. And as the data continued to roll in, the mystery deepened. What was this object? Where did it come from? Why was it behaving in ways that contradicted everything humanity thought it knew about celestial bodies? What had been initially categorized as a comet, a simple, fleeting visitor from space, was now emerging as something much more puzzling, an object that defied easy categorization, something that might hold secrets humanity wasn't yet ready to uncover. The deeper scientists dug, the more they realized that 3I Atlas might not just be an oddity in the sky, it could be a message, a clue, or even a signpost pointing towards something far greater. But to unlock its secrets, humanity would have to step beyond the boundaries of current, scientific understanding. The object had only just arrived, but already it was clear that the mystery of 3I Atlas was one that could change everything. And the more we learned, the less we seemed to know. What was it really? And what would happen when we finally unravelled the truth? The quest for answers had only just begun, and the path ahead was as uncertain as the object itself. From the moment 3 Atlas entered our solar system's field of view, it became clear that this wasn't just another comet or asteroid passing through. Everything about it, from its composition to its trajectory, screamed of something different. For decades, astronomers have charted the paths of countless celestial bodies, cataloguing their composition, behaviour and movement. In all that time, nothing had ever come close to the anomalies that 3 Atlas displayed. What should have been a simple, though rare, interstellar visitor quickly became something more perplexing. The more scientists observed, the more apparent it became. 3I Atlas was unlike anything humanity had ever encountered before. First, there was its mass. Typically, interstellar objects are small, often no more than a few kilometres across. But 3 Atlas was different. As initial observations were made, scientists found that this object was far larger than any comet or asteroid expected to come from interstellar space. Estimates placed its size well beyond what most models predicted for objects travelling through our solar system. Its brightness, far more intense than anticipated, only added to the puzzle. This wasn't a small body reflecting a little sunlight. It was a massive object emitting an almost unnatural amount of light. Comets, for instance, reflect only a fraction of the sunlight they receive. 3I Atlas, however, seemed to reflect light at an intensity that defied all logic. When analysed further, the object's albedo, the measure of how much sunlight it reflected, was far higher than what should be possible for an object of its type. The math just didn't add up. Even more puzzling was the object's behaviour. As 3I Atlas neared the inner part of our solar system, it began to outgas, releasing gases and particles into space in the familiar way that comets do. However, the pattern of its outgassing was unlike anything observed before. Instead of a gradual, steady release of material, it seemed to be ejecting bursts of gas, as if responding to some external force. This behaviour, so unpredictable and volatile, didn't follow the typical outgassing pattern observed in comets, where the sun's heat causes the release of gas and dust in a relatively stable fashion. Something about 3I Atlas suggested that its outgassing was more controlled, more deliberate. Could this be an indication of some form of internal mechanism? Or was there something else at play that we were simply not prepared to understand? Then, there was its trajectory. Objects that come from other star systems are typically scattered across the vastness of space in a chaotic manner, dictated by the forces of gravity and the random encounters they experience with stars and other cosmic bodies. They don't follow neat, predictable paths. But 3 Atlas was different. It wasn't tumbling through the solar system in the random fashion that one would expect from a natural body. Instead, its trajectory seemed to be perfectly aligned with the ecliptic plane, the flat disk that defines the plane of our solar system's planetary orbits. The precision of this alignment was unsettling. Objects that are flung out from other star systems usually travel in a haphazard manner, but 3 Atlas seemed almost as though it was deliberately navigating through our solar system. As 3 Atlas passed close to Mars, Venus and Jupiter, it became clear that its course was too perfect to be random. The timing of its approach also felt orchestrated. The trajectory of this object brought it to within striking distance of multiple planets, in a way that suggested intentionality. The object wasn't just crossing the solar system in a typical fashion. It was maneuvering through it with a precision that hinted at something far beyond natural cosmic forces. Could this be a cosmic accident? Or was there something more purposeful at play? The idea that 3I Atlas could be a product of design, perhaps even sent with a purpose, began to gain traction among a growing number of scientists. The alignment, the size, the outgassing, and the sheer intensity of its brightness pointed to something far more sophisticated than a simple rock or comet. It wasn't just different from other interstellar visitors, it was radically so. What were the chances that this object, out of the billions of potential interstellar objects out there, would align so perfectly with our solar system's planets? What were the odds that an object travelling across the vast emptiness of space would exhibit so many anomalies? The more scientists examined 3I Atlas, the more it seemed that these were not mere coincidences. Was 3I Atlas simply an oddity in the cosmos? Or was there something far greater at play? Could it be part of a larger plan, one that we are only just beginning to comprehend? It was clear that 3D Atlas was not a typical interstellar object. The question now wasn't why it was so different, it was why it was here at all. What was the purpose behind its arrival, and who or what was behind it? These questions would drive humanity's understanding of this object, as we scrambled to uncover the truth behind this strange, magnificent visitor. The mystery of 3I Atlas had only just begun, and already it was clear. Whatever the object was, it was far more than just a passing comet. It was something that would change everything. As the data continued to pour in, an undeniable question began to form in the minds of scientists and astronomers around the world. Could this object, 3I Atlas, have been placed here deliberately? At first, the thought seemed like a stretch, a far-fetched theory, a speculative leap based on a few strange observations. But as the evidence mounted, the possibility of intelligent design became harder to ignore. The anomalies surrounding 3D Atlas were too precise, too purposeful, to be simply the result of cosmic randomness. From its unusual trajectory to its unexpected brightness, from its baffling composition to its unpredictable outgassing, everything about this object suggested that it wasn't just another natural interstellar visitor. The question was no longer what 3 Atlas was, but why it was here. The more astronomers examined its path through the solar system, the clearer it became that 3 Atlas was not behaving like any other comet or asteroid. Its alignment with the ecliptic plane, the precision of its trajectory, and its near-perfect passes by multiple planets, Mars, Venus, and Jupiter, seemed almost too intentional. This was not a random object caught in the gravitational web of our solar system. It was an object on a path, moving with purpose, as though guided by unseen hands. The chances of such a perfect alignment happening by chance were astronomically low, and as more data came in, the possibility of a natural explanation grew less and less likely. Was 3 Atlas just a freak of nature, or could it be the product of design, an object sent with a mission? As this hypothesis began to take root, it quickly gained traction among certain groups of scientists, though it was met with skepticism from others. The data seemed to support the notion that 3I Atlas was far more than just a stray rock from another star system. Its outgassing patterns were unlike anything seen before, as if the object were releasing gases with a specific controlled intention, not just due to the sun's heat. Its brightness, far greater than any natural object should possess at such a distance, further fueled the suspicion that this was not a mere celestial wanderer. And then there was the object's chemical composition. Instead of a simple mix of ice and dust, 3I Atlas contained rare materials and elements that suggested it was crafted, not just naturally formed. These anomalies didn't add up. They pointed to something far more engineered than anything seen in the natural world. As astronomers and physicists examined the data in greater detail, a chilling thought began to take shape. What if 3I Atlas was part of something much larger? What if its arrival in our solar system was not an isolated event, but the first step in a grander plan. Could this object be a signal, a scout, or perhaps the initial phase of a much larger mission designed to test or even transform our world? The questions piled up, but answers remained elusive. There were no clear signs of the creators behind this object, no obvious markers that could definitively point to a particular civilization, species, or intelligence. But the evidence was undeniable. 3 Atlas was not like anything we had ever encountered, and its arrival felt far too timed, too purposeful to be dismissed as a cosmic coincidence. The possibility that 3I Atlas was a deliberate creation brought with it even deeper questions. Who could have engineered such an object, and for what purpose? Was it a message, a warning, or something else entirely? And if 3I Atlas was part of a much larger plan, what role were we as humans supposed to play in it? Were we simply unwitting observers, chosen to witness this extraordinary event, or were we part of something far greater, something that had been set into motion long before we even realized it? These questions were not just academic, they were existential. The implications of 3I Atlas being part of a larger intentional design were profound, touching on everything from humanity's place in the cosmos to the very nature of intelligence and technology in the universe. For some, the idea that 3I Atlas was engineered and sent with a mission was an exciting prospect. It hinted at the possibility of advanced extraterrestrial life, civilizations that had mastered the art of interstellar travel and communication. It opened up the possibility that humanity was not alone, that we were not at the top of the food chain in the universe, but merely one part of a much larger cosmic network. For others, the idea was more unsettling. What if we were not meant to understand this object? What if its creators had designed it to test us, to observe us, or even to influence us? The possibilities were endless, and the uncertainty was palpable. As scientists continued to study 3I Atlas, they were forced to grapple with the uncomfortable truth that they may never fully understand the object's true purpose. Was it a message, a warning, a probe, or perhaps something far more complex? One thing was certain. 3 Atlas was not just another object passing through our solar system. It was something far more purposeful. And as humanity stood on the brink of this revelation, the question remained, are we simply observers, or are we about to become participants in something far grander than we could ever have imagined? The answers were out there, somewhere in the stars waiting for us to find them. But first, we would need to confront the possibility that 3 Atlas was just the beginning. For millennia, ancient civilizations across the globe have gazed at the heavens, their eyes fixed on the stars, watching for signs, omens, and visitors from beyond. From the Sumerians to the Mayans, from the Egyptians to the ancient Chinese, the heavens have always held a special significance, with many cultures believing that the gods descended from the sky, bringing wisdom, power, and sometimes transformation. These ancient cultures described beings who arrived from distant worlds, often heralding great changes in the course of human history. But what if these stories, these prophecies, weren't just myths or mere allegory? What if the tales of gods descending from the heavens are rooted in a truth far more profound than we ever imagined? Could 3I Atlas be part of these ancient prophecies? Could this object be more than just an interstellar visitor, but a key player in a cosmic plan that stretches back to humanity's distant past? When 3I Atlas first appeared, it was met with the usual fascination and skepticism that comes with the discovery of any new celestial body. But as the object's anomalies became increasingly difficult to ignore, the connections to ancient prophecies began to surface. Across cultures, there are numerous references to celestial beings, gods, angels, or visitors, who arrive from the sky to alter the course of history. In ancient texts from Sumer, Babylon, and Mesopotamia, there are stories of gods descending from the heavens in fiery chariots, bringing knowledge and power to the early humans. These stories, often described in elaborate detail, suggest that the gods did not merely exist in the sky. They came from it, arriving in vessels of incredible power, sometimes with the ability to change the very fabric of reality. The Sumerian texts, in particular, hold striking parallels to the arrival of 3I Atlas. Ancient tablets and inscriptions speak of the Anunnaki, a group of deities who are said to have come from the stars. These beings were believed to have travelled from a distant planet, Nibiru, located beyond the known boundaries of our solar system. According to Sumerian mythology, the Anunnaki came to Earth to mine for precious resources and to shape the development of humanity. The most significant of these stories is found in the ancient Sumerian epic, the Enuma Elish, which describes the return of these gods after a long absence. The prophecy of their return was said to be tied to celestial events, with the gods predicted to arrive when the time was right. When certain planetary alignments occurred, when the cycle of the stars brought them back to Earth. What is chilling is how these ancient prophecies align with the arrival of 3 Atlas. If we accept the possibility that this object is more than just a random comet or asteroid, the coincidences become striking. The Sumerians spoke of a celestial body, Nibiru, that would return in a regular cycle, bringing with it the gods, who would bring about significant changes to Earth. The arrival of 3i Atlas, with its perfect alignment with the ecliptic plane, its trajectory passing near multiple planets, and its sudden and powerful presence in our solar system, echoes the return of Nibiru described in the Enuma Elish. Could it be that 3i Atlas is not just a passing object, but a harbinger of something far greater? Could it be the celestial visitor foretold by the ancients, a sign that we are on the cusp of a monumental transformation? The prophecies don't stop there. Across the world, other ancient cultures have similar stories of visitors descending from the heavens, often linked to specific celestial events or planetary alignments. The Mayans, for example, had a deep understanding of the cycles of the stars and planets, and their calendar predicted the return of a celestial event that would change the course of history. The ancient Egyptians, too, had their own myths of gods who came from the stars, bearing knowledge that helped shape their civilization. Could 3i Atlas be the event these cultures foresaw? Could this interstellar object be the key to understanding the ancient connection between the heavens and humanity? As we delve deeper into the ancient texts and prophecies, the connections to 3i Atlas become even more compelling. The timing of its arrival, perfectly aligned with planetary cycles and celestial phenomena, seems too precise to be a coincidence. The Sumerians, the Mayans, the Egyptians, these ancient cultures, all spoke of celestial events that marked the turning of an age, the arrival of beings from the stars, and the beginning of a new chapter in human history. Could it be that 3i Atlas is the catalyst for such a transformation, a key to unlocking the secrets of our past and our future? The coincidences are chilling. The ancient prophecies, the stories of gods descending from the heavens, and the arrival of 3 Atlas all seem to be woven together in a way that cannot be easily dismissed. Is this object simply a cosmic accident, or is it part of something much larger, a cosmic plan that has been in motion for millennia, waiting for the right moment to unfold? The more we learn about 3i Atlas, the more it feels as though it is connected to something far beyond our understanding, something that stretches across time and space, linking the ancient past with the future of humanity. The question now is not just what 3i Atlas is, but what it means for us, for our world, and for our place in the cosmos. Are we witnessing the return of the gods, or is this just the beginning of a far grander cosmic plan? The answers may lie in the stars and in the ancient texts that have been waiting for us to finally understand their true meaning. The idea that 3i Atlas might contain technology, real, functioning and deliberate, has shifted from speculation to a topic of serious, if cautious, discussion among scientists and theorists alike. When it was first detected, the assumption was simple: a large interstellar object, perhaps a comet, wandering through our solar system like many before it. But as the data accumulated, that assumption began to crumble. The light it reflected was too intense, the chemical readings too structured, the energy signatures too specific. It wasn't behaving like a chunk of rock and ice hurled through space by chance. It was behaving like something built. The brightness alone defied explanation. Natural bodies reflect sunlight, their luminosity determined by surface texture, material composition, and distance from the sun. Yet 3i Atlas seemed to defy those laws. It shone with an almost metallic luster, an illumination that intensified and faded with rhythmic precision, as though it were pulsing, breathing. At first, astronomers thought the effect was an optical illusion caused by the rotation of the object, but further analysis showed a pattern. The reflected light wasn't random. It appeared modulated. Some described it as a signal, others as a calibration pattern, something deliberately engineered to interact with light. What natural object would do that? Then there were the chemical signatures. When spectrographic data began streaming in from telescopes around the world, it revealed a composition that simply didn't make sense for a comet or asteroid. There were traces of rare elements, nickel and titanium in unexpected ratios, hydrogen compounds that behaved like synthetic polymers, and even isotopic distributions that hinted at refined materials. NASA's spectroscopic analysis revealed molecular bonds that should not have formed in a natural environment. The only plausible explanations required conditions of extreme pressure and temperature, conditions you would expect in an advanced manufacturing process, not in the random chaos of a stellar nursery. The deeper scientists looked, the less natural 3 Atlas appeared. But the most unsettling data came from its behavior near the Sun. As the object approached perihelion, the closest point in its orbit, it should have begun to break apart, shedding volatile gases and debris. Instead, it stabilized. The outgassing, though present, was controlled and precise, as if regulated. Unlike typical comets, which release gas unpredictably as solar radiation hits their icy surfaces, 3I Atlas emitted material in measured intervals. Some astrophysicists began referring to it as venting rather than outgassing, the distinction subtle but meaningful. A natural object releases gas because it must. A machine releases gas because it chooses to. That possibility, choice, changed everything. Could this object be a probe, a vessel, a remnant of a civilization that had mastered the ability to traverse interstellar distances not by accident, but by design? Its trajectory through our solar system only deepened the mystery. The alignment with the ecliptic plane, the gravitational slingshots near Venus and Mars, the carefully timed approach that placed it directly between the Sun and Earth, each movement could be explained as coincidence, but taken together, they began to look like navigation. If this object had a mission, it was executing it with breathtaking precision. The idea that 3I Atlas might be technological, a device rather than debris, introduced terrifying and exhilarating implications. Was it here to observe, to communicate, to test? Could it be influencing planetary systems, perhaps subtly adjusting magnetic fields, solar radiation patterns, or atmospheric chemistry? Some scientists noted strange fluctuations in electromagnetic readings during its closest approach to Mars. Others speculated that its chemical emissions might have been designed to trigger a reaction, perhaps even to seed life or awaken something dormant. Every new data set only widened the gap between what was known and what could be explained. If 3I Atlas is indeed a constructed object, then it represents technology far beyond anything humanity has ever encountered. Its builders would possess knowledge of physics, propulsion, and material science so advanced that our most cutting-edge technologies would seem primitive in comparison. This realization forces us to confront a possibility we've long imagined but never proven, that we are not the architects of intelligence in this galaxy, merely one of its latest expressions. And if 3I Atlas is here for a purpose, then we must ask, what role do we play in it? Are we the audience, the subjects, or the experiment? For now, the object remains silent. It drifts through the solar system with quiet precision, its secrets locked within layers of impossible engineering. But silence is not absence. Silence in this case might be the calm before revelation, a waiting period before the purpose of 3I Atlas finally becomes clear. Whether it is a relic of a long-vanished civilization or a messenger from one that still watches us, the truth will challenge everything we believe about technology, about intelligence, and about our place among the stars. As 3I Atlas continues its journey through our solar system, a growing possibility looms larger with each passing day. Could this object be more than just a cosmic curiosity? What if it is, in fact, a tool, a piece of advanced technology designed for a specific monumental purpose? One of the most chilling possibilities is that 3i Atlas could be carrying the keys to transforming Mars, a planet that has long been regarded as the closest thing to an Earth-like world in our neighbourhood but is now a barren, desolate wasteland. The chemical composition detected on 3i Atlas, with its high concentrations of gases like carbon dioxide and water vapour, might not be an accident. Could it be the first step in a cosmic engineering project to terraform Mars, turning the once lifeless planet into a cradle for future life? Mars, for all its rugged beauty, has never truly been hospitable to life as we know it. The Martian atmosphere is thin, composed mostly of carbon dioxide, and the planet's surface is cold and dry, with little liquid water. The red planet's history is one of transformation, as evidence suggests that it once had conditions that could have supported microbial life. However, something happened, perhaps a massive shift in its climate or a catastrophic event, that caused Mars to lose its atmosphere and the protective conditions needed for life to thrive. For years, scientists have speculated about the potential for terraforming Mars, a monumental task that would involve altering its atmosphere, increasing temperatures, and introducing water into the environment. But what if the arrival of 3i Atlas is not just an isolated event, but a deliberate step in a much larger plan to bring Mars back to life? The parallels between the chemical signature detected on 3i Atlas and the elements necessary to restart the Martian atmosphere are eerie. The object's chemical composition contains high levels of carbon dioxide, a crucial component for initiating the greenhouse effect needed to warm Mars. In its frozen state, Mars has trapped large amounts of carbon dioxide in its polar ice caps, but for this gas to be released into the atmosphere, a trigger is needed. 3i Atlas, with its calculated release of gases, might be that very trigger. As the object passes closer to Mars, it's conceivable that the release of carbon dioxide and other gases could be precisely what the red planet needs to begin the long process of atmospheric thickening. This would result in a gradual increase in temperature, melting the ice caps, releasing more carbon dioxide and possibly even producing the conditions for liquid water to exist once again. The scientific theory behind terraforming is far from simple. It involves the creation of a self-sustaining, breathable atmosphere that can support plant and animal life, as well as regulating the planet's temperature to make it hospitable. This is where the significance of 3i Atlas grows even more intriguing. The release of chemicals from the object could initiate a chain reaction, an artificial process that mirrors natural planetary transformations, but at a far faster pace. What if the object's mission is not merely to pass through our solar system, but to deliver the necessary chemical catalyst to start Mars on the path to becoming a second Earth? The chemical composition found on 3i Atlas could provide the building blocks for this transformation, making the prospect of a terraformed Mars more feasible than ever before. But the implications of such a transformation go far beyond science fiction. If 3i Atlas is indeed part of an interstellar terraforming effort, it would represent a level of technology so advanced that it would force humanity to rethink everything it knows about planetary engineering. The idea of transforming an entire planet, of taking a dead, lifeless world and turning it into a new home for future generations, would be nothing short of a cosmic feat. And if Mars is indeed the target of this transformation, what role does humanity play in the process? Are we simply witnesses to an event far beyond our understanding? Or are we part of a larger plan that will eventually see us living on Mars as well? The timing of 3i Atlas's arrival is no coincidence. With humanity now looking to the stars, planning future missions to Mars and beyond, could this object be a signal, a marker in the grand cosmic design? Some theorists have even suggested that 3i Atlas's mission could be a precursor to a more significant event, one that might involve humanity's own involvement in the transformation of Mars. Perhaps we are being prepared for a future where Earth's resources are no longer sufficient, and Mars becomes our next frontier. The transformation of Mars would be a slow and complex process, likely taking centuries or even millennia to fully unfold. But the arrival of 3i Atlas marks the beginning of something far greater. If the object is truly designed to alter the Martian atmosphere, it would be the first step in a series of events that would make Mars habitable once again. This is not just a dream of science fiction, it is a possibility that seems more plausible with each new piece of data we gather. If 3i Atlas is indeed the first stage in a much larger plan to bring life back to Mars, then the question becomes, Are we ready to take that next step, to look beyond Earth and towards the stars, knowing that we may one day call Mars home? The chemical release from 3I Atlas could very well be the spark that ignites this transformation. But whether it is a random event or the beginning of a much larger intentional plan remains to be seen. What we do know is this: the fate of Mars is tied to something far greater than we ever imagined. And as we look up to the skies, we may be witnessing the first steps of a cosmic engineering project that will forever alter the future of our solar system. The transformation of an entire planet is no small feat, especially one as distant and inhospitable as Mars. For centuries, scientists have dreamt of the possibility, theorizing ways to alter the Martian atmosphere, raising its temperature, and introducing the necessary elements to create conditions suitable for life. But what if this dream was already in motion long before human civilization ever imagined it? The presence of 3I Atlas, an object so intricately woven into the fabric of our solar system, brings us face to face with an unsettling reality. Mars might already be in the midst of a transformation, a process that could have begun long before humanity's existence and might be part of a much grander cosmic design. The very idea of terraforming Mars, the deliberate alteration of its atmosphere and environment to make it habitable, is a daunting and ambitious task. It requires an almost incomprehensible amount of energy and resources, along with a deep understanding of planetary science and engineering. The sheer scale of such a transformation makes it seem impossible, and yet, as we observe 3I Atlas, an object whose chemical composition hints at purpose and precision, the line between science fiction and reality begins to blur. The possibility that 3I Atlas is playing a role in this transformation forces us to confront a chilling idea: that Mars may not be the barren, dead world we think it is, but instead a planet carefully engineered to become something else entirely. This concept of cosmic engineering isn't new. Across ancient cultures, myths and prophecies spoke of gods descending from the heavens to alter the course of planets and civilizations. The Sumerians, for example, described gods known as the Anunnaki, who arrived from a distant planet, Nibiru, to shape the world. According to their ancient texts, these gods weren't just visitors. They were cosmic architects, capable of manipulating the very fabric of the universe. They were said to have transformed Earth in ways that made it suitable for human life, teaching the early humans not just how to survive, but how to harness the resources of the planet. Could these gods, these cosmic engineers, have been responsible for the transformation of Mars as well? Could they have left behind a plan, one that humanity is only now beginning to uncover, that would turn Mars into a second Earth? The connection between 3I Atlas and these ancient prophecies is eerie. The object's perfect alignment with the solar system, its strange chemical composition, and its ability to alter planetary conditions suggest that it is not a random visitor, but part of a larger deliberate design. If 3I Atlas is indeed part of this cosmic engineering project, then it raises profound questions about our place in the universe. Are we simply observers, stumbling upon a process that began long before we had the capacity to understand it? Or are we, perhaps, a part of this cosmic plan, intertwined in ways we are only beginning to comprehend? The idea that Mars is being terraformed, whether by an advanced extraterrestrial civilization or some form of cosmic intelligence, is both exhilarating and unsettling. It suggests that the universe is not just a collection of random, chaotic forces, but a place where planetary systems and life are carefully shaped and designed. If Mars is in the process of being transformed into a habitable world, then the implications are immense. The question arises, why would anyone or anything go to such lengths to create another Earth? What is the ultimate purpose of this transformation? As we look at the evidence, it becomes harder to ignore the possibility that we are witnessing a cosmic blueprint unfold. The chemical release from 3I Atlas, with its high concentrations of carbon dioxide and other gases, could be the first step in a much larger process, one that involves altering the Martian atmosphere to support life. This process could involve everything from adjusting the planet's temperature and atmospheric pressure to introducing water and other elements necessary for life to thrive. If 3I Atlas is part of this process, then Mars is not just a barren wasteland but a world in transition, on the cusp of becoming something entirely new. The presence of 3i Atlas also raises unsettling questions about humanity's role in this grand design. If Mars is being terraformed, and if 3i Atlas is part of that transformation, what does that mean for us? Are we mere pawns in a cosmic game, part of a plan set into motion long before we even understood the stars? Or are we meant to play a role in this transformation, perhaps as the inheritors of a new world tasked with carrying forward the work that began with the gods? The possibility of Mars becoming habitable again forces us to think about the future of human civilization and our place in the broader cosmic narrative. What will it mean for us to live on Mars, to become an interplanetary species? And what does it say about the universe that such transformation is even possible? As we peer deeper into the mystery of 3i Atlas and the transformation of Mars, it becomes clear that we are only beginning to scratch the surface of a far greater story. This is not just a tale of planetary change, it is a story that reaches back into the ancient past and stretches forward into a future we have yet to fully understand. The question now is not whether Mars can be terraformed, but why it is happening, and whether humanity is prepared to play its part in the grand cosmic plan that seems to be unfolding around us. The answers are waiting in the stars, and they may change everything we think we know about life, the universe, and our place within it. As 3i Atlas continues to sail through our solar system, a chilling thought begins to take root. Could it be carrying a message? Its sudden, almost purposeful arrival, the strange patterns of light, the chemical composition unlike anything we've encountered before, each anomaly adds to a growing sense that this object is not merely passing through. What if 3i Atlas is a deliberate signal, a cosmic communique sent with a specific purpose? If it is, then we are standing on the precipice of a revelation that could shatter everything we think we know about life, intelligence, and our place in the universe. For centuries, humanity has looked to the stars, wondering whether we are alone, asking ourselves if there are others out there, watching, waiting, or perhaps trying to make contact. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence, CT, has long been the domain of scientists, dreamers, and philosophers alike. But what if the answer has already arrived, not in the form of a radio signal or a distant beacon, but in the form of a physical object, a visitor from another star system, carrying with it the first real evidence of extraterrestrial intelligence? When 3 Atlas was first detected, scientists initially assumed it was just another comet or asteroid passing through our solar system. But as more data came in, it quickly became clear that this object was different, far different. Its trajectory, its brightness, its chemical composition, nothing about it fit the standard models. It didn't behave like a typical comet, nor did it align with any known asteroid patterns. Instead, it moved with an almost deliberate purpose, passing close to planets, aligning with our solar system's ecliptic plane, and emitting strange light patterns that scientists had never seen before. The more the object was studied, the more it became apparent that 3i Atlas was not just a random space rock, it was a message. The question then becomes, what is the message? Is it a message of peace, a silent greeting from an advanced civilization eager to make contact? Or is it a warning, a sign that we are not alone, but that we may not be ready for what lies beyond our solar system? As scientists continue to analyze the signals and patterns emitted by 3i Atlas, it's clear that these are not random phenomena. The object's light patterns, for instance, suggest a level of sophistication far beyond what nature alone can create. The object appears to emit light in a controlled, rhythmic fashion, almost like a signal, like something is trying to communicate. The fact that this object, in its strange and seemingly purposeful journey, has arrived during a time when humanity is finally advancing its own space, exploration capabilities only deepens the mystery. Could this be a signal timed to coincide with our growing ability to detect and understand it? More unsettling still is the possibility that we're not simply witnessing the arrival of a message, but the beginning of something far greater. If 3i Atlas is indeed a piece of interstellar technology, an object deliberately sent to us, then we must ask, who is sending it, and why? Is this the first step in an interstellar communication campaign, one that will eventually lead to contact with extraterrestrial civilizations? Or is it a more complex, cryptic message, one that only time and further analysis will reveal? The real question remains, what are we meant to understand from this object? Is it a sign of peace, a call to action, or perhaps something darker, a warning of dangers that lie beyond the stars? The idea that 3i Atlas could be a message from extraterrestrial intelligence forces humanity to confront its deepest existential questions. If we are not alone in the universe, how do we fit into this larger cosmic network? What does it mean for us, for our species, to be visited, however subtly, by an intelligence that has mastered interstellar travel? And if 3i Atlas is the first evidence of such intelligence, then what else is out there, waiting to be discovered? As the analysis continues, some have begun to speculate that the object may be a kind of probe, an advanced piece of technology designed to observe, measure, and potentially guide us in some way. Others suggest that the object could be part of a much larger plan, a series of communications or actions designed to prepare humanity for a future in which we are no longer the dominant intelligence in our galaxy. What is certain, however, is that 3i Atlas is no accident. Its arrival in our solar system at this precise moment, its strange behaviour, and its unmistakable signs of purpose all point to one conclusion. We are facing a communication, one that may offer us a glimpse into a universe far larger and more complex than we ever imagined. The message, whatever it is, remains unclear, but its arrival marks a turning point. Humanity is standing at the threshold of a new era. Whether this is a moment of peaceful contact or a warning to be heeded, the truth behind 3i Atlas could change everything. The question now is whether we are ready to understand the message it carries and what it means for our future in the stars. The answers may be out there, hidden in the object's strange composition and behaviour, waiting for us to decode them. And as we look to the heavens, we must ask ourselves, are we truly prepared for what we might find? Behind the veil of public knowledge, a quiet storm is brewing. While the world's space agencies, the likes of NEA, the European Space Agency and others, have made their observations and shared some of the data regarding 3i Atlas, there is an unmistakable air of secrecy surrounding the object. For something that has garnered so much global attention, there is an unusual level of silence about its full implications. As more data is collected, questions begin to arise. Why has so much been kept under wraps? What is it that these agencies know, but are not sharing? And why, with all the information flooding in, do we continue to receive only glimpses of the truth? The very real possibility that 3i Atlas is not just an astronomical object, but a key to unlocking something far greater, has led some to wonder whether the powers that be are already aware of something world-changing. Are we being kept in the dark? Or are we on the precipice of discovering something so monumental that it's being handled in complete secrecy? The first clue that something more is happening behind the scenes comes from the level of coordination and urgency among space agencies. As 3i Atlas made its way through the solar system, it was observed by multiple satellites, telescopes, and deep space probes. Some of this information, once verified, made its way to the public, but much of it seemed to be withheld, delayed, or filtered before being shared with the global scientific community. For example, some key spectrographic data, information about the object's chemical composition, appeared to be released in pieces rather than as a comprehensive, transparent report. Each new piece of data was cautiously handed out, as though careful not to reveal the full picture too quickly. Why? The behaviour of 3i Atlas itself raises even more questions. With its unnatural brightness, its odd chemical composition, and its purposeful trajectory, it was clear that this object didn't behave like the usual cosmic wanderers. And yet, while scientists expressed their wonder and confusion, there was no immediate international push for deeper investigation. No urgent calls for coordinated missions to track it more closely or collect samples, at least not publicly. Instead, quiet collaborations began to form behind closed doors. Certain nations with advanced space programs, particularly those with deep space observatories and classified military projects, have begun to take a far more active interest in the object. Rumours of covert missions and high-level briefings suggest that what is being shared with the public is merely the surface of a far larger operation. It's not hard to imagine that governments and space agencies are racing to understand what 3i Atlas is, and more critically what its presence means. What happens when science, politics and secrecy collide? In a world where space exploration is increasingly becoming both a scientific and a strategic endeavour, the lines between public knowledge and classified information become dangerously blurred. A discovery like 3i Atlas, potentially the first real evidence of intelligent design from beyond our solar system, is too important, too disruptive to be left entirely in the hands of open public inquiry. The strategic value of understanding the object, whether it contains technology, knowledge, or even a warning, could be far too significant to share with the world just yet. After all, what could a message from an extraterrestrial intelligence mean for global power structures? What would it mean for security, for military advantage, for the control of new technologies or knowledge that could alter the course of human civilization? These are not questions easily answered in the public domain. As these covert operations unfold, the tension between scientific curiosity and political secrecy grows. The data collected is analysed under conditions that are not always transparent to the public. The details of any potential missions to interact with or investigate 3i Atlas more directly are kept tightly under wraps. The silence surrounding the true scope of the object's significance begins to feel calculated, as if something far larger is at stake than we realise. Could the silence be an attempt to control the narrative? Could it be that the agencies in question are trying to understand the object in full, not only for the advancement of science, but also to control what happens next? We may be on the brink of discovering something world-changing. If 3i Atlas is indeed a deliberate object, one that has been sent with purpose, perhaps as a message, a tool, or a probe, the implications are staggering. The question is, who holds the key to unlocking this mystery? Are we as a species meant to decipher it together, or will the decision to do so lie with a select few? As humanity stands at the edge of a new era in cosmic discovery, the secrecy surrounding 3i Atlas raises a chilling possibility. The world may not be ready to know the truth, and the truth may be more profound and more dangerous than we can imagine. In the end, the questions about 3i Atlas and the secrecy surrounding it are as much about what we are not being told as about what we know. Are we merely onlookers, waiting for the truth to be revealed, or are we being kept in the dark, manipulated by those who understand more about the object and its purpose than they're willing to share? The answers are out there, hidden beneath layers of secrecy, waiting for the moment when the full story will be told. Until then, we must remain patient, curious, and perhaps, more importantly, vigilant. Because the truth, when it comes, will likely change everything. The arrival of 3i Atlas is not just a cosmic event, it is a game-changer on a scale that humanity has never before experienced. While the scientific community is still grappling with the object's full implications, behind the scenes the political landscape is already beginning to shift. Governments, space agencies and military forces are taking keen interest in 3i Atlas, not just for its potential to unlock the mysteries of the universe, but for what it represents in terms of power and control. The stakes have never been higher. If 3i Atlas truly holds the key to planetary transformation, if it is the first step in turning Mars into a habitable world, then the question becomes, who controls that power? Who decides what happens next? And more importantly, who controls the future of humanity? The prospect of transforming an entire planet, particularly one as close and potentially habitable as Mars, is no longer the stuff of science fiction. It is suddenly a very real possibility. As 3 Atlas continues its approach, and scientists begin to understand more about its chemical composition and potential to influence planetary conditions, the conversation turns not just to exploration and discovery, but to control. The question arises, if Mars is on the verge of becoming a new home for life, who gets to control it? Who has the right to dictate the pace and direction of this planetary engineering? It's a question that stretches far beyond the realm of science into the heart of global politics. For centuries, humanity has viewed space as the final frontier, a domain of exploration, knowledge and discovery, largely free from the constraints of terrestrial politics. But 3 Atlas is forcing us to confront a sobering truth: space is not free of influence. The very idea of planetary transformation, of altering the course of an entire world, is fraught with political ramifications. Space agencies such as NASA, the European Space Agency and others have historically been the keepers of the keys to space exploration. But with the potential to terraform a planet, to change its very atmosphere and surface, those keys become far more valuable and far more contested. As humanity becomes aware of the possibility of transforming Mars, questions about sovereignty and ownership inevitably arise. Who owns Mars? Is it the nation that reaches it first? The nation that can claim the technology to terraform it? Or, in the case of 3I Atlas, is the object itself a catalyst for a new kind of global cooperation or competition? The geopolitics of space exploration have already begun to take shape, and the arrival of 3I Atlas only accelerates this shift. With the ability to alter planetary conditions comes the power to control the future of humanity. The race to harness that power will be fierce, and the consequences of failure or success will echo through history. Military forces are already factoring into this equation. While much of the world's space exploration is driven by scientific curiosity, the same technologies that could terraform Mars or alter planetary climates also have military applications. The ability to manipulate planetary environments could be weaponized, creating an entirely new sphere of geopolitical power. Countries with the capability to control planetary transformations could, in theory, hold the upper hand not just in space, but on Earth as well. As nations scramble to secure their place in the coming era of planetary engineering, the lines between scientific progress and military strategy become increasingly blurred. The implications for global governance are equally profound. The power to shape planetary environments could lead to a new kind of world order, one where the control of space and celestial bodies becomes as important as the control of natural resources on Earth. Just as nations once competed for land and resources on Earth, so too will they compete for control of Mars, with 3I Atlas potentially marking the beginning of a new colonial race. The idea of space sovereignty will likely become a central political issue in the coming decades. Will the Moon and Mars be governed by international treaties, like the 1967 Outer Space Treaty, which states that no nation can claim ownership of celestial bodies? Or will the political and economic interests of powerful nations lead to a new space race, where control over extraterrestrial territories is determined by force, influence, and technology? And what of the future of humanity? If Mars becomes a viable second home for life, who gets to decide who lives there? The transformation of Mars could open up entirely new frontiers for human settlement, but that also raises questions about human migration, resource allocation, and the ethics of colonization. As Earth's resources continue to dwindle, the pressure to colonize other planets will only grow. Will Mars become a refuge for the privileged few, or will it become a new frontier for all of humanity? Will it be a place of cooperation and shared progress, or will it divide humanity even further into the haves and have-nots? In the face of these political uncertainties, the role of space agencies becomes even more crucial. While NASA, ESA, and others continue to explore the scientific possibilities of 3I Atlas and its potential impact on Mars, the political power tied to these discoveries will shape the future of space exploration for generations. The true question is not just what 3I Atlas can teach us about the cosmos, but how the knowledge it brings will be wielded. Will humanity be united in this next chapter of our existence, or will we fracture into competing factions, each trying to claim the heavens for themselves? The political implications of 3I Atlas will reverberate long after the object has passed, shaping not just the future of Mars, but the future of humanity's place in the universe. The arrival of 3I Atlas is not merely an astronomical event, it is a seismic shift that threatens to shake the very foundations of human civilization. With every piece of data that comes in, every new anomaly that defies explanation, humanity is forced to confront the overwhelming truth: we may not be alone in the universe. The implications of this discovery are staggering, reverberating through every corner of society. If 3 Atlas is indeed a signal from an advanced extraterrestrial intelligence, then what does that mean for everything we've built? Our political systems, our economic structures, even our very understanding of existence. The old systems, the ones that have defined our world for centuries, may no longer be sufficient to explain or manage the new reality we are now facing. A cosmic revolution is upon us, and the question is not whether we will adapt, but how fast the old paradigms will collapse in the face of this new cosmic order. For centuries, humanity has believed that we are the center of the universe, that our intelligence is unique, and that we are the pinnacle of evolution. This anthropocentric view has shaped our political systems, economic models, and cultural narratives. Nations have built their power structures around the idea that they control resources, knowledge, and, most importantly, the future of humanity. But what happens when this foundation is cracked, when the center of human existence is no longer our own creation, but something far greater, something alien and beyond our understanding? The discovery of the 3I Atlas and its implications for extraterrestrial intelligence forces us to rethink the very essence of our place in the cosmos. Suddenly, human civilization is no longer at the top of the intellectual ladder. Instead, we are confronted with the reality that we might be part of a much larger cosmic plan, one that may have been in motion long before we even evolved as a species. The political consequences of this realization are profound. Governments, built on the assumption of human supremacy, are suddenly faced with the realization that their power structures are based on a fundamentally flawed understanding of the universe. The question of sovereignty, over Earth, over space, over resources, becomes a complicated web of new considerations. If 3I Atlas is a signal or a product of extraterrestrial technology, then who truly controls space? What does it mean for national borders when the world and the universe are governed by forces we can barely comprehend? Political systems that were once seen as invincible might begin to falter under the weight of this cosmic revelation. The old alliances, the balance of power that has existed for centuries, may no longer hold up in the face of the unknown. New systems will have to emerge, ones that embrace the reality that we are not isolated, but part of a much grander, far-reaching cosmic fabric. Economically, the consequences are equally staggering. For centuries, the global economy has been built around the exploitation of Earth's resources: oil, minerals, energy, and now the race to mine asteroids and plan for Mars. But what happens when new technologies, far more advanced than anything humanity has yet discovered, begin to emerge? 3I Atlas might hold the key to unimaginable energy sources, new materials, or even technologies that could drastically alter the way we live. The traditional economic models that rely on scarcity and competition will become obsolete, replaced by a new economy based on a far greater abundance. The distribution of wealth, power, and resources may no longer follow the lines drawn by human societies. The forces that once governed the markets, the rich, the powerful, the elite, will face an unprecedented challenge. How do you maintain control over a system that is suddenly more fluid, more interconnected, and potentially more egalitarian? The old economic systems, which have been built on the exploitation of Earth's resources and the labour of its people, may collapse in the wake of a new, more complex economic paradigm. And with that collapse comes an opportunity for something new to take shape. Perhaps the most profound shift will occur in the cultural and spiritual realms. For millennia, religion has offered humanity a sense of purpose, a framework for understanding the universe and our place within it. But what happens when humanity is forced to confront the reality that we are not the centre of the universe, and that other intelligent beings may exist, ones that are far more advanced than we are? The very concept of divinity, of creation, of the human soul may be challenged in ways that we have never anticipated. For many, the discovery of extraterrestrial life may spark a crisis of faith, forcing us to re-evaluate our spiritual beliefs and the stories we tell ourselves about the origins of life and the nature of existence. For others, it may serve as a catalyst for a new spiritual awakening, a realization that the universe is far larger and more interconnected than we ever imagined, and that our role in it is part of a larger cosmic narrative. The collapse of old systems of belief may pave the way for the birth of new ones that embrace the interconnectedness of all life, human, extraterrestrial, and cosmic. The collapse of old systems is not a simple destruction of what came before, it is the birth of something new. Humanity stands at a crossroads, one that offers both great challenges and extraordinary opportunities. The discovery of 3i Atlas and its potential to transform our understanding of the universe is the first step in this cosmic revolution. As we adjust to this new reality, new systems, political, economic and cultural, will emerge, shaped by the knowledge that we are no longer alone in the universe. The questions we face are enormous. How will we adapt to this new reality? How will we reshape our society to accommodate the incredible discoveries that await? And most importantly, how will we learn to live in a universe that is no longer centered around us? The collapse of old systems is inevitable, but it is also the beginning of a new era, one where humanity must embrace the unknown and its place within a vast, interconnected cosmos. The world as we know it is changing. The only question is, are we ready to change with it? As humanity stands on the edge of discovery, gazing up at 3i Atlas, we're confronted with a challenge unlike any we've faced before. The very fabric of what we thought we knew about space, time, and the laws of physics is being tested by an object that refuses to behave according to our established understanding of the universe. From the moment it entered our solar system, 3i Atlas has been a riddle wrapped in an enigma, an object that seems to defy all the rules we've worked so hard to understand. And as the data continues to flood in, one question looms larger than all the others. How do we measure something that doesn't fit within our comprehension of the natural world? Our scientific understanding of the universe is based on centuries of observation, experimentation, and theory. We've studied comets, asteroids, and other interstellar objects for generations, cataloguing their movements, analysing their composition, and using them as stepping stones to understand the greater cosmos. Yet, 3i Atlas is different. It doesn't conform to any known pattern. The trajectory it follows is too precise, too intentional to be the result of natural forces alone. Its composition, an unusual blend of metals, gases, and materials, bears little resemblance to the typical chemical signatures we find in celestial bodies. And its behaviour, far from being predictable, is chaotic in a way that defies logic. Every new piece of data seems to contradict the one that came before it, leaving scientists not with answers, but with an ever-expanding list of questions. For the scientific community, this object presents an unprecedented challenge. How do we begin to study something that doesn't follow the basic laws of physics as we understand them? The laws that govern the movement of objects in space, the way light interacts with matter, and the way that materials behave under extreme conditions. These are the same laws we've used to study everything from the smallest particles to the largest galaxies. But 3i Atlas, as it turns out, seems to be operating outside of those laws. How do you analyse an object that bends the rules? An object that suggests there may be dimensions to the universe that we've yet to explore? Take its outgassing, for example. Most comets and asteroids release gases when they are heated by the sun, a process driven by the simple physics of sublimation. As the object gets closer to the sun, heat causes the ice on its surface to vaporize, creating a visible tail of gas and dust. But 3i Atlas doesn't behave this way. Its outgassing is more irregular, more intense, almost as if the object is releasing material on a set schedule. This doesn't align with any of the natural models we've built to understand how comets and asteroids behave. It's almost as though the release of material is controlled, deliberate. But how? What could possibly cause an object to behave this way, and what does it mean for our understanding of physics? Similarly, the object's interaction with light is baffling. The way it reflects light, the intensity of that light, and the way it seems to pulse in a pattern. It all seems to break the rules of simple optics. Natural objects reflect light in a predictable manner, based on their composition and structure. But the light coming from 3i Atlas doesn't behave according to the expected laws of reflection. It doesn't scatter the way it should. It doesn't dim in the usual manner as the object moves farther from the sun. Instead, it seems to radiate in a way that suggests an internal mechanism at work. Could 3D Atlas be engineered with some form of technology that allows it to manipulate light in ways we don't yet understand? This is where the limits of human knowledge become painfully clear. For all our advancements in science and technology, we have reached the edge of our understanding. 3i Atlas forces us to confront the fact that our models, our theories, and our fundamental assumptions about the universe are incomplete. There is so much we don't know, and in many ways the arrival of this object highlights the limits of our own perception. We have spent centuries building a framework to understand the universe, but what if that framework is not enough? What if the universe operates on principles we have yet to even glimpse? What does it mean for us, as a species, to realize that we might be standing at the threshold of a new understanding, one that could completely redefine everything we thought we knew about the cosmos? As scientists continue to study 3i Atlas, they are forced to adapt, to rethink old theories and develop new ones to account for the data they are receiving. This is a process that challenges everything we know about science. It's one thing to discover new information that builds upon existing knowledge. It's another to be confronted with a phenomenon that seems to violate the very foundations of that knowledge. It forces us to ask, what happens when our understanding of the universe reaches its limits? How do we proceed when the laws of physics themselves are in question? For now, the mystery of 3 Atlas remains unsolved, a testament to the vastness of the unknown that still surrounds us. But in that mystery lies opportunity, an opportunity to expand our knowledge, to push the boundaries of what we think is possible, and to confront the limits of our own understanding. In the process, we may learn more than we ever thought we could, not just about 3i Atlas, but about the very nature of the universe itself. And perhaps, in the end, the most profound question is not just about 3i Atlas, but about the future of science itself. What new realms of understanding will we unlock when we finally push beyond the limits of the known? If you're as fascinated by 3i Atlas as we are, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more updates, and tell us in the comments, what do you believe the arrival of this object means for humanity? For centuries, humanity has gazed at the night sky, a vast expanse filled with infinite stars, planets, and galaxies, each a distant mystery, each a potential home for life. But for all the awe that the cosmos inspired, there was also a profound sense of isolation. We believed, with near certainty, that we were the only intelligent beings in the universe, that Earth, with all its life and complexity, stood alone in the darkness. We sought answers, yes, but we never truly expected to find them. It was the great paradox of human existence, the endless curiosity about the stars tempered by the quiet certainty that we were alone in our search for meaning. But with the arrival of 3i Atlas, that illusion is shattered. The object's presence in our solar system, its strange composition, its intentional trajectory, its apparent signs of intelligence, forces us to confront the reality that we're not alone. The universe, once a silent void, is now a place where the possibility of other life, other minds, no longer feels like a mere dream. It is real, tangible, and perhaps closer than we ever imagined. This sudden rupture in our understanding of the cosmos will have profound psychological implications for humanity. For as long as we've existed, the question of whether we are alone has been one of the central dilemmas of human thought. The myths of gods from the sky, the speculations of scientists, the hope of communication with extraterrestrial beings, they've all been part of our shared dream. But now, with the arrival of 3i Atlas, that dream has been replaced by something far more unsettling. The realization that we may not be the pinnacle of creation. This knowledge, sudden and overwhelming, raises more questions than answers. If 3i Atlas is indeed a message, a probe, or some kind of interstellar object designed by an advanced intelligence, what does it mean for humanity's place in the grand tapestry of the universe? And what does it mean for us, as a species, to suddenly find ourselves not at the center of the cosmos, but just another part of a much larger, more intricate whole? The immediate impact of such a revelation will undoubtedly shake humanity to its core. For millennia, we've defined ourselves by the idea that we are unique, that our intelligence is a special gift in a universe devoid of other minds. The discovery that we are not alone, whether through the arrival of 3i Atlas or through some other form of contact, forces us to rethink everything. What does it mean to be human when we are no longer the only intelligent life in the universe? How does it change our sense of purpose, our sense of destiny, our very understanding of life itself? The psychological weight of this realization is difficult to measure, but it will undoubtedly have a lasting impact on the way we view ourselves and our place in the universe. At first, the reaction to such a revelation may be one of fear and disbelief. The idea that we are not alone challenges the very foundations of human identity. It asks us to reconsider our assumptions about intelligence, about civilization, about the meaning of life itself. If other intelligent beings exist, what does that mean for the future of humanity? Are we, as a species, prepared to share the universe with others, or will we cling to our isolation, our uniqueness at any cost? The existential crisis that accompanies such a discovery will not be easily overcome. The realization that the universe is not ours to command, that we are not the sole bearers of intelligence, will force us to confront uncomfortable truths about our own limitations, our own vulnerabilities. But there is also the potential for immense growth and transformation. The discovery of extraterrestrial intelligence, if handled with wisdom and foresight, could spark a new era of human progress. It could inspire us to re-examine our priorities, to expand our horizons, to search for meaning in ways we never thought possible. The possibility of contact with other civilizations opens up new vistas of knowledge, science and culture, possibilities that were once relegated to the realm of science fiction. It could challenge our assumptions about life, technology, and the future, prompting us to think beyond the boundaries of our planet, to imagine a future where humanity plays a part in a larger, interstellar community. In many ways, the discovery of extraterrestrial intelligence through 3i Atlas could be the greatest opportunity humanity has ever faced. It forces us to transcend the limitations of our old worldview, to step beyond the boundaries of Earth and reach for the stars, not just in terms of exploration, but in terms of understanding, cooperation, and evolution. The psychological impact of such a discovery is profound, but it need not be one of despair or fear. Rather, it can be a catalyst for transformation, a moment that pushes humanity toward a future where we are no longer isolated, but part of a larger, interconnected universe. For all its uncertainty, the arrival of 3i Atlas is a reminder of how much we still have to learn, of how small we are in the vastness of the cosmos. It asks us to let go of our old illusions of isolation and embrace the reality that the universe is far more complex, far more interconnected than we ever imagined. And in doing so, it challenges us to rise to the occasion to redefine ourselves not just as earthlings, but as citizens of a far larger, far more mysterious universe. The end of our isolation is not a conclusion, but the beginning of a new chapter, one where humanity must reckon with its place among the stars and step boldly into the unknown. The arrival of 3i Atlas is not merely the appearance of an object in the sky, it is the catalyst for something far greater, a profound shift in human consciousness. For centuries, humanity has lived under the assumption that we are the dominant intelligence in the universe, isolated on our small blue planet in a vast empty cosmos. We have constructed our societies, our politics, and our understanding of life itself around this central idea of human uniqueness. But with the appearance of 3i Atlas, that assumption is shattered. What was once a theoretical question about extraterrestrial life has suddenly become a reality we can no longer ignore. We are forced to confront the uncomfortable truth that we are not alone, and that our place in the cosmos is part of a much larger, far more complex narrative than we ever imagined. This revelation is not just scientific, it is deeply cultural and existential. The awakening that is now unfolding will ripple through every aspect of human life. Our political systems, our economies, and our belief structures, all of them are rooted in the understanding that we are the center of our own universe. But with the appearance of something like 3i Atlas, those old structures are beginning to crumble. We are waking up to a reality where humanity is not the only player on the stage, where other intelligences, possibly far older and more advanced than ours, exist somewhere out there. This awareness is not a quiet realization. It is a profound and disruptive event, one that will forever alter how we view ourselves and our future. As the data continues to pour in about 3i Atlas, the implications become clearer. The object is not just a passing visitor, a cosmic curiosity. It is a sign, a message, and perhaps a marker for humanity's next chapter. For centuries, we have looked up at the stars with a sense of wonder, imagining the possibility of other life forms out there. But now that the possibility has been thrust into our reality, the ground beneath us is shifting. We are forced to ask ourselves, what does it mean to be human in a universe where we are not alone? What does it mean to be part of something larger than ourselves, larger than our planet, perhaps even larger than our entire solar system? The cultural impact of this awakening cannot be overstated. For many, it will be a moment of awe and inspiration, a realization that we are part of a grand cosmic order, a network of life and intelligence that stretches beyond the boundaries of Earth. For others, it may be a more unsettling awakening, one that forces us to confront our fragility, our smallness, and our limitations. In either case, the arrival of 3i Atlas marks the beginning of a profound cultural shift. We are no longer just Earthlings. We are part of a much larger cosmic story, one that will shape the way we think about everything from our place in the universe to the nature of life itself. This shift will be a long and challenging journey. As the world begins to digest the implications of 3i Atlas's arrival, questions will arise about the future of humanity's role in the cosmos. Will we continue to cling to our old paradigms, struggling to maintain the illusion of human supremacy? Or will we rise to the occasion, embracing the reality that we are part of something much greater and more interconnected than we ever imagined? This awakening will challenge our assumptions about what it means to be intelligent, to be conscious, and to be alive. It will force us to rethink our relationship with the Earth, with each other, and with the cosmos itself. The journey ahead is one of profound change. The arrival of 3i Atlas is not just the discovery of an extraterrestrial object, it is the discovery of our place in a much larger, more complex universe. This realization will stretch the boundaries of human knowledge and existence to their breaking point, forcing us to adapt in ways we have never had to before. It is a journey that will challenge our most fundamental beliefs, our understanding of life, and our sense of self. And though the path ahead is uncertain, one thing is clear. The arrival of 3i Atlas marks the beginning of humanity's great awakening, a new chapter in our story, one that will forever change the way we see the stars, the universe, and ourselves. The mystery of 3 Atlas stretches far beyond its physical form and behavior. With every new discovery about the object, the question that looms largest is who or what is behind its creation? The very nature of 3 Atlas suggests that it is more than just a passing asteroid or comet. It feels intentional, as though it has been deliberately sent. The precise trajectory, the engineered chemical composition, the way it interacts with light and outgases, all of these anomalies hint at something much greater than a random cosmic traveller. But who or what could have built such an object? Is it the work of an advanced civilization from another star system, watching us from afar? Or could it be something even older? Something that predates human civilization itself? The possibility that 3i Atlas is the product of extraterrestrial intelligence is one that cannot be easily dismissed. It is a theory that has been gaining traction since the object's arrival, and it presents both exciting and unsettling possibilities. If 3i Atlas is indeed a creation from another star system, then it forces us to confront the idea that other intelligent beings have been observing us for far longer than we ever realized. Perhaps they have watched as we developed, as we stumbled through the ages of history, completely unaware of their presence. Could it be that 3 Atlas is not just a one-time visit, but the first in a series of encounters that will lead humanity into contact with a greater cosmic community? The notion of extraterrestrial architects raises even more questions about their motivations. What could be their purpose in sending an object like 3i Atlas to our solar system? Are they trying to communicate with us, to offer a gift of knowledge, or perhaps a warning? The object's intentional design suggests that its arrival was no accident. If it is part of a grander plan, then the implications for humanity are staggering. Could we be on the cusp of making contact with a civilization so advanced that we can barely comprehend its existence? And what role would we play in this larger cosmic narrative? Are we simply recipients of their message, or are we being tested, examined, or even prepared for something much more profound? But the architects of 3i Atlas may not be from another star system at all. Some theories suggest that the object could be the work of beings from other dimensions, entities that exist beyond the boundaries of our understanding of space and time. Interdimensional beings, intelligences that exist in parallel universes or alternate realities, have long been a subject of speculation in both scientific and philosophical circles. What if 3i Atlas is not just a physical object, but a bridge between dimensions, a tool to connect different planes of existence? The idea that extraterrestrial life might not be limited to our own dimension opens up a whole new realm of possibilities. Perhaps the creators of 3i Atlas are not bound by the same rules of physics and time that govern us. Could this object be a messenger, a way for these beings to make their presence known, to reveal the existence of other dimensions, and to invite us into a larger cosmic web of interconnected realities? And then, there is the possibility that the architects of 3i Atlas are something even older, beings or forces that predate human civilization itself, existing in ways we cannot yet comprehend. Perhaps they are not just technologically advanced or interdimensional, but ancient entities that have existed throughout the history of the universe. Their purpose might extend beyond just the material world, perhaps guiding the very evolution of intelligence, shaping the development of life across galaxies, or even fostering the rise of civilizations across time. What if 3i Atlas is part of an ongoing experiment or project, one that spans eons, whose true purpose will only be revealed when humanity is ready? The idea that we are mere participants in a larger cosmic plan, one that has been unfolding long before we even existed, adds a layer of mystery that is both humbling and awe-inspiring. The architects of 3i Atlas may be far beyond our current understanding, and their motives could be as complex as the object itself. Are they benevolent beings, seeking to guide humanity towards a higher level of understanding, or are they indifferent to our fate, observing from afar with no interest in interference? Perhaps they are neither good nor evil, but simply entities operating within a framework of cosmic law that is beyond our comprehension. The true intentions behind 3i Atlas may remain hidden for some time, and we may never fully understand why it was sent or what role it plays in the larger cosmic order. For now, 3i Atlas stands as a testament to something much larger than our civilization, a message or a signal from somewhere beyond our reach. Whether it is a probe, a relic, or a beacon, it represents a turning point in human history. The question is no longer whether intelligent life exists beyond Earth, but what these creators want from us, and whether we are ready to meet them on the terms they have set. As we look up at 3i Atlas, we are left with one undeniable truth. The universe is far more mysterious than we ever imagined, and the architects of this mystery are only just beginning to reveal themselves. As 3i Atlas continues to reveal its mysteries, humanity finds itself at a crossroads, forced to confront its place in a universe far larger and more intricate than we ever imagined. The questions surrounding this interstellar visitor, with its deliberate trajectory, unusual composition, and seemingly purposeful design, have sparked a profound shift in our understanding of the cosmos. But beyond the scientific discoveries, one question looms above all others. What role does humanity play in this grand design? Are we simply pawns in a much larger cosmic game, subject to forces beyond our control? Or do we hold the power to shape the future, to influence the course of events not just within our solar system but far beyond it? For centuries, humanity has viewed itself as the central player in the drama of life. We have shaped our history, our civilizations, and our understanding of the universe around the assumption that we are the pinnacle of intelligence in the cosmos. But with the arrival of 3i Atlas, that assumption is being tested. The appearance of an object so far beyond our current technological and scientific understanding forces us to question whether we are truly the masters of our fate, or whether we are part of a much larger cosmic plan, one that we are only now beginning to comprehend. The arrival of 3i Atlas challenges our self-perception. If this object is truly an engineered probe, sent by an advanced civilization or intelligence, then humanity is no longer the centre of the universe. We are part of a much grander, far-reaching narrative, one that may stretch across galaxies and eons. The realization that we are not alone, possibly that we have never been alone, shifts the very foundation of human identity. We are no longer the lone travellers in a vast empty cosmos. We are players in a much larger game, one where the rules have yet to be fully understood, and where our place in the grand design is still uncertain. Yet, even as we grapple with the enormity of this revelation, we are faced with a critical question. What is our role in this new cosmic narrative? Are we simply observers, destined to watch the unfolding of events far beyond our control? Or do we have the agency to shape the future, to influence the course of human history and our place in the universe? The answers to these questions will define not only our future, but the legacy we leave behind for future generations. In the wake of 3i Atlas's arrival, humanity is confronted with a choice. Do we embrace our role in this larger cosmic story, working in harmony with the knowledge and technologies that have been revealed to us? Or do we resist, clinging to the old ways of thinking that have governed our world for centuries? The choice is not an easy one. The knowledge we are gaining from 3i Atlas could alter the very nature of life on Earth, and beyond. It has the potential to reshape our understanding of space travel, energy, and even the very nature of intelligence itself. But with this power comes responsibility. What we do with this knowledge, how we use it, and who we share it with will define our future. As we explore the implications of 3i Atlas, we must also confront the possibility that humanity's future is not solely in our hands. If this object, this alien artifact, is indeed part of a larger design, whether the work of extraterrestrial intelligence, interdimensional beings, or some other force, then we may be playing a role that we have yet to fully comprehend. The path ahead may not be one of our own choosing. The knowledge and power we are gaining could be part of a larger plan, one that is unfolding according to forces that we cannot yet see. In this context, humanity's role may not be to lead, but to learn, adapt, and respond to the cosmic revelations that are unfolding around us. Yet, within this uncertainty lies potential. The arrival of 3i Atlas could mark the beginning of a new chapter in human history, one where we are no longer confined to our small world, but are part of a greater cosmic community. The revelations brought by this object challenge us to look beyond the confines of Earth and imagine a future where humanity is not just a species struggling to survive, but an active participant in the grand design of the universe. The choices we make in the coming years will determine whether we rise to this challenge or falter in the face of the unknown. In the end, 3 Atlas forces us to confront the question of what it means to be human. Are we simply passive witnesses to the unfolding of a greater cosmic narrative, or do we have the power to influence that narrative, to shape our destiny and the destiny of other civilizations? The answers to these questions may lie within the object itself, or perhaps in the choices we make as we continue our journey through the stars. What is certain is that the arrival of 3 Atlas marks the beginning of a new era, one where humanity must decide its place in a universe far larger and more complex than we ever imagined. The arrival of 3 Atlas has not only sparked awe and confusion, but has also opened the door to an unsettling possibility, that this object is not just a messenger from the stars, but a technological marvel of unimaginable complexity. The evidence, while still emerging, suggests that 3i Atlas may be far more than a simple probe or interstellar artifact. Instead, it could be a piece of advanced technology that defies our understanding of physics, a device that utilizes principles and mechanisms so far beyond our grasp that we can only speculate about its true nature. If this is the case, then humanity stands on the cusp of a technological revolution, one that could change everything we know about space travel, energy production, and perhaps the very nature of existence itself. The most immediate questions center around the propulsion system of 3i Atlas. Traditional space travel, as we understand it, relies on chemical propulsion or ion drives, technologies that are both limited and slow by the standards of interstellar distances. These propulsion methods are bound by the laws of physics as we know them, governed by concepts such as thrust, mass, and energy expenditure. Yet 3i Atlas, as it travels through the solar system, seems to defy these limitations. Its trajectory, precise and unyielding, suggests a propulsion system that doesn't conform to anything we have ever observed. The speed at which it moves, the way it alters its path, and the lack of visible exhaust or radiation all hint at a propulsion system that operates on principles we are yet to understand. One of the most baffling aspects of 3i Atlas is its ability to appear to glide through space, moving in ways that seem to disregard the constraints of classical mechanics. It doesn't show the typical signs of a comet, which burns off fuel as it gets closer to the sun. Instead, it behaves like an object under intelligent control, one that isn't governed by the conventional rules of mass, momentum, and energy conservation. Could 3i Atlas employ a form of propulsion that bends or even bypasses these known laws, perhaps using a form of energy that we have yet to discover? Could it be harnessing quantum or gravitational forces in ways we've only theorized about, allowing it to travel vast distances without the need for traditional fuel sources? If so, the implications for space travel are nothing short of revolutionary. We could be looking at the key to overcoming the immense challenges of interstellar travel, potentially unlocking the ability to traverse the stars in ways we have only dreamt of. But propulsion is only one aspect of the technological puzzle that 3 Atlas represents. If this object is a probe, as many scientists suspect, then it's likely designed for communication, perhaps even for interaction with other civilizations. The patterns of light and energy emissions from the object suggest it is not merely passive. It appears to be actively broadcasting or receiving signals, though we have yet to decode them. Could 3i Atlas be equipped with communication technology far beyond our own? If its creators possess the ability to manipulate light and energy in ways we cannot fully grasp, then they may have developed methods of communication that we have not even begun to imagine. Perhaps they are using frequencies or signals that exist outside the electromagnetic spectrum, or perhaps they are employing quantum entanglement or other exotic methods to send messages across vast distances instantaneously. This potential for advanced communication technology raises even more questions about the purpose of 3i Atlas. Is it simply a one-way messenger, broadcasting data back to its creators, or is it capable of receiving messages and interacting with other technologies in real time? If it is designed to communicate, what could it be trying to tell us? And how might our understanding of communication, data transfer, and even artificial intelligence be transformed if we are able to understand and replicate these technologies? The technological marvel of 3i Atlas could also extend to its energy systems. The object emits far more energy than any natural body could, and it does so with a precision that suggests an internal energy source, one that is highly efficient and potentially harnessing principles that we have not yet discovered. Could this object be powered by a form of energy that we have yet to fully comprehend? Something beyond nuclear fusion or even antimatter? What if it is using an energy system that taps into the fabric of space itself? A method that could completely revolutionize the way we generate and consume power. Such a technology could eliminate humanity's reliance on fossil fuels and usher in an era of limitless energy, changing the global economic and political landscape in ways we can only begin to imagine. In the end, the knowledge contained within 3i Atlas could unlock entire fields of science that we have only just begun to explore. Whether it's advanced propulsion, quantum communication, or new energy systems, the technologies embedded in this object have the potential to reshape our future. The question is no longer whether these technologies exist, but when we will be able to understand and replicate them. And when we do, humanity will have to confront not just the technological challenges of mastering these new powers, but the ethical and philosophical questions that arise when we step into a new age of possibility. What happens when we unlock the secrets of the universe? What does it mean for us as a species? And what responsibilities will we bear as we take our first steps into a new era of technological enlightenment? The answers lie within 3i Atlas, waiting to be uncovered. As 3i Atlas continues its journey through our solar system, the questions surrounding its origin, purpose, and impact grow ever more complex. While the scientific community has been quick to share what data it can, there are whispers growing louder, from the fringes of society to the halls of power, that the full truth of 3i Atlas is not being revealed to the public? Could it be that the arrival of this object is not just a discovery, but part of a much larger, more calculated cosmic conspiracy? Some believe that there are powerful forces, secret space programs, shadow governments, and unseen global players that are carefully managing or even hiding the truth about 3i Atlas from the rest of humanity. What do they know that we don't, and why is it being kept from us? For decades, conspiracy theories have suggested that governments and shadow organizations have knowledge of extraterrestrial life and technologies far beyond what they've shared with the public. From UFO sightings to covert military operations, there is a long history of whispers about what is really going on behind the scenes. The arrival of 3i Atlas only adds fuel to this fire. If this object is truly a product of extraterrestrial or advanced intelligence, then it's reasonable to assume that the people in charge of global space programs have been aware of its arrival long before the general public. After all, 3i Atlas is no ordinary visitor. Its trajectory, brightness, and unnatural behavior are not things that could be overlooked by those with the resources to track such objects. Yet, despite the mounting evidence of its significance, much of the information surrounding it has been tightly controlled. It's easy to imagine that space agencies around the world, NASA, ESA, and others, have been studying 3i Atlas in greater detail than they have publicly acknowledged. These organizations have the means and expertise to track the object's movements, analyze its composition, and perhaps even make contact with it if they choose to do so. But what if they've known more than they're letting on? What if they are withholding critical details from the public in the interest of national security, or even for reasons that are less clear? The idea that the powers that be are controlling the flow of information about 3i Atlas isn't as far-fetched as it might seem. After all, if the object is indeed a piece of advanced technology, whether extraterrestrial, interdimensional, or something even more incomprehensible, then the knowledge it holds could be a game-changer. Could the powerful elites, governments, and military forces be keeping this knowledge hidden in order to maintain control over global power structures? The secrecy surrounding 3i Atlas raises the uncomfortable possibility that humanity is not being told the full story. If there is indeed a hidden agenda behind its arrival, what could it be? Some believe that the object's sudden appearance is part of a larger long-term plan, one that has been in motion for centuries. Could 3i Atlas be the first step in preparing humanity for a greater cosmic revelation? If the object contains technology far beyond our current understanding, then its knowledge could give those who possess it an enormous advantage. What if there are factions within global power structures who are already aware of the object's true significance, but are keeping it under wraps until they can control how it's released? The idea of a cosmic conspiracy suggests that the arrival of 3i Atlas could be the beginning of a new phase in human history, one where information and power are distributed to only a select few. Some conspiracy theorists suggest that the object's true purpose is not simply to observe or communicate, but to prepare the way for something far more impactful: contact with an advanced extraterrestrial civilization. What if 3i Atlas is the first step in initiating an interstellar exchange, one that will radically alter the trajectory of humanity's future? But in this scenario, why would the powers in charge choose to keep this information secret? The answer could lie in the fear of mass panic, the fear that the revelation of extraterrestrial life would destabilize governments, economies, and social structures. Perhaps those in power believe that humanity isn't ready for such a profound truth. The idea of controlling when and how such information is released, managing the narrative around 3i Atlas and its purpose, could be part of a strategy to prevent chaos and maintain control over the public. On the other hand, there could be a more sinister motivation behind the secrecy. If 3i Atlas does indeed contain advanced technologies, energy sources, propulsion systems, or communication methods that are far beyond anything humanity has discovered, then it could represent a massive shift in the balance of power. Those who control such technology could hold an unprecedented advantage, not only in space exploration but in global influence. The fear of losing control over this technology could be a powerful motivator for keeping the object's true nature hidden, as those in charge might seek to monopolize the knowledge for their own benefit, leaving the public in the dark. The possibility of a cosmic conspiracy surrounding 3i Atlas forces us to question everything we think we know about the forces shaping our world. What are the powerful forces behind the scenes really hiding, and why? Are we being kept in the dark because we are simply not ready for the truth? Or is there a hidden agenda, one that seeks to shape humanity's future in ways we can't yet comprehend? The arrival of 3i Atlas has opened a door to a new chapter in human history, but it may also be revealing the vast unseen forces that have been pulling the strings behind the scenes for much longer than we ever realized. As we move forward, we must ask ourselves, what do we truly know about 3i Atlas, and what truths are being kept from us? The answers may be the key to understanding not just the object itself, but the forces shaping our future in ways we're only beginning to understand. As the days grow shorter and October the 29th, 2025, draws nearer, humanity finds itself holding its breath, caught in the shadow of an unknown future. The arrival of 3i Atlas has already altered the course of scientific understanding and shaken the very foundation of our perception of the cosmos. But now, as the object makes its final approach, we are faced with a pivotal moment, a ticking clock that could mark a dramatic turning point in human history. On that day, 3i Atlas will either pass by our solar system, fading into the vast expanse of space, or it will alter its course forever, setting into motion a chain of events that could change everything we know about our place in the universe. The implications of this moment are staggering. For centuries, we have speculated about the existence of intelligent life beyond Earth, imagining the possibility that we might one day make contact with beings from distant stars. But the arrival of 3i Atlas has taken those dreams and thrust them into our reality. We're no longer merely pondering the unknown. We're standing on the precipice of discovery, waiting for a moment that could redefine the course of human civilization. The object's trajectory, the strange signals it emits, the fact that it seems to behave with purpose. All of these factors suggest that 3i Atlas is not just a random visitor, but something much more significant. And as it draws closer to our solar system, we are faced with the uncomfortable reality that we cannot predict what will happen next. October 29th represents a critical juncture in this unfolding drama. If 3i Atlas passes by as predicted, it will mark the end of this chapter, an extraordinary moment in human history that will leave us with more questions than answers. But if the object alters its course, if it changes its trajectory in ways that we cannot anticipate, it could signal the beginning of something much larger. Could 3i Atlas be a precursor to something greater, an event, a message, or even an invitation? What if this moment marks the first step in humanity's involvement in a much grander cosmic narrative, one that stretches across galaxies and eons? The possibilities are endless, and yet we are left with only uncertainty. As the countdown continues, scientists, governments, and space agencies are monitoring every aspect of 3i Atlas's approach, each piece of data adding to the puzzle. But despite all of the information we have gathered, the truth remains elusive. We do not fully understand the object's origins, its purpose, or what it might mean for us. Every calculation, every analysis brings us closer to the truth, but the ultimate revelation is still beyond our reach. This uncertainty is both thrilling and terrifying. The future of humanity may be forever altered in just a matter of days, and yet we are powerless to control what happens next. As the object nears, the questions intensify. Will it continue on its planned trajectory, fading into the dark depths of space? Or will its passage signal the beginning of something far more profound? The stakes of this moment could not be higher. If 3i Atlas is indeed a messenger, a probe, or a harbinger of something far greater, its impact will reverberate through every facet of human society. Politics, religion, culture, everything will be reshaped in the wake of this discovery. Our understanding of the universe, our place within it, and the very nature of life itself could change in the blink of an eye. The arrival of extraterrestrial intelligence, or even the possibility of contact with such intelligence, would force humanity to confront its deepest existential questions. Are we truly alone? What does it mean to be human in a universe teeming with life? And what role do we play in this grand cosmic narrative? Yet, as we approach October 29th, we are reminded of the uncertainty that lies ahead. The arrival of 3i Atlas could bring with it the answers we've been seeking for centuries, or it could leave us with more questions than ever before. The fate of this moment is out of our hands. It is a cosmic event that transcends human control, a reminder that despite all our advancements, we are still at the mercy of the universe's vast, unpredictable forces. As the countdown continues, we are forced to reckon with the possibility that our understanding of reality, of time, and of existence itself may never be the same again. What happens on October 29th will shape the future of humanity. Will we stand on the edge of a new era, one defined by the discovery of alien intelligence and a new understanding of the cosmos? Or will we be left to ponder the implications of a fleeting encounter with something that is beyond our comprehension? The fate of 3i Atlas, and by extension the fate of humanity, is unknown. But one thing is certain: the final countdown has begun, and with it comes the undeniable truth that everything we once thought we knew is about to be tested. Mars has always captured the imagination of humanity. From ancient civilizations that gazed up at the red planet and wondered about its distant surface, to modern scientists who have sent rovers and satellites to explore its barren landscapes, Mars has stood as a symbol of mystery and potential. It is a world that seems so familiar, yet so alien, with its rust-coloured deserts, its vast canyons, and its towering mountains. For centuries we have speculated about the possibility of life on Mars, its past and its future. But with the arrival of 3i Atlas, that mystery deepens. Could it be that Mars has been prepared for something or someone else? Could the key to unlocking the secrets of our neighbouring planet be found in the object now hurtling through our solar system? The history of Mars is written in the scars on its surface, the remnants of ancient seas, riverbeds, and volcanic activity. For much of its past, scientists believe that Mars was a much more hospitable world, with a thick atmosphere and liquid water flowing freely on its surface. In fact, evidence suggests that Mars once harboured a biosphere, an environment where life, perhaps microbial, could have flourished. But something catastrophic happened. The planet's atmosphere thinned, its surface cooled, and the water that once flowed freely disappeared, leaving behind the dry, desolate landscape we see today. For decades, we have been left with the question: what happened to Mars? Why did it lose its potential to support life, and what does that mean for the possibility of life on other planets? As we consider the arrival of 3i Atlas, these questions take on new urgency. What if Mars wasn't simply a victim of natural processes? What if its transformation, its fall from a thriving world to a barren desert, was part of a larger, more deliberate plan? The arrival of 3i Atlas, an object that seems so intentional, so precisely placed within our solar system, raises the possibility that Mars has been prepared for something else entirely. Could it be that Mars is not simply a dead planet, but one that has been altered, possibly even engineered, to be something else? And if so, what role does 3i Atlas play in this grand transformation? The evidence gathered about 3i Atlas suggests that the object might be far more than just a passing interstellar visitor. Its unusual chemical composition, its outgassing patterns, and its apparent purposeful trajectory all point to the idea that it could be part of a larger plan, a plan that involves Mars. Could 3i Atlas hold the key to unlocking the transformation of Mars from a cold, lifeless desert to a habitable world once again? The object's proximity to Mars as it passes through our solar system raises the possibility that its arrival is not coincidental. What if 3i Atlas is carrying with it the necessary elements or technology to kickstart the process of terraforming Mars, making it suitable for human life, or even other forms of life that have been dormant for millennia? Mars, as we understand it, is a planet on the edge of transformation. The presence of water ice beneath its surface, the traces of ancient riverbeds, and the seasonal variations in its atmosphere all suggest that the planet is not entirely dead. It is a world with the potential for revival, but that revival would require the right combination of conditions that 3i Atlas might be uniquely equipped to provide. Could the object be a harbinger of the transformation of Mars, carrying with it the materials or technologies that will spark the planet's rebirth? The presence of gases like carbon dioxide, along with other compounds detected on 3I Atlas, could be the first step in creating a greenhouse effect on Mars, warming the planet and releasing the trapped water in its ice caps. The process, while slow and complex, could set into motion a chain of events that could lead to a Mars that is no longer a barren desert, but a world with the potential to sustain life once again. In this sense, 3I Atlas might not just be an observer, but a participant in the cosmic transformation of Mars. It could be a signal, a tool, or a message sent to ignite a process that was started long before humanity was even capable of understanding it. The arrival of 3I Atlas is not just an astronomical event, but a key moment in a larger cosmic narrative. Mars may have been prepared for something or someone else. And as we look to the skies, we must ask ourselves, are we witnessing the beginning of a transformation, not just of a planet, but of our own understanding of life, the universe, and our place within it? The secrets of Mars, once thought lost to time, may be closer than we think. 3 Atlas could be the missing link, the catalyst that will unlock the next stage of planetary evolution. If we are truly on the verge of seeing Mars transformed, then the implications for humanity are staggering. Not only would this change our understanding of our neighbouring planet, but it could also redefine our future, offering new possibilities for life beyond Earth. As we prepare for what comes next, we must grapple with the realization that Mars has always been part of something far larger, and that 3I Atlas is the first step in uncovering the truth of its transformation and our own. As 3 Atlas draws nearer, the world holds its collective breath. The unfolding events, so far beyond anything humanity has faced, present a challenge that defies our ability to fully comprehend. The prospect of encountering extraterrestrial intelligence or unlocking technologies far beyond our own understanding is not just a distant possibility, it is a reality that is quickly approaching. The implications of this momentous event stretch far beyond science and technology. It touches every facet of human existence, politics, religion, culture, and even our most fundamental beliefs about life itself. We are standing at the precipice of a new era, and the question is no longer if humanity will change, but how we will adapt to the unimaginable. The arrival of 3 Atlas forces us to confront a reality we have spent centuries speculating about, but never truly prepared for. We are not alone. For all of our advancements, for all of our exploration of the cosmos, the discovery that extraterrestrial intelligence exists is something we have never had to face. And yet, here we are, standing on the threshold of that revelation. How do we, as a species, respond to the arrival of something so alien, so radically different from anything we've ever encountered? The question is not just how we will respond, but how we will survive the cultural, psychological, and existential shock that comes with the realization that humanity is no longer the center of the universe. Governments around the world are scrambling to manage the information, to control the narrative, and to determine how best to respond to this extraordinary event. Space agencies, military forces, and intelligence communities have been monitoring 3I Atlas for some time, but much of what they know remains classified, hidden from the public eye. This secrecy has only fueled suspicions and conspiracy theories, with many wondering if the true nature of 3I Atlas is being concealed for reasons of national security or political power. Yet, as the object draws closer, the pressure to release more information becomes overwhelming. How do governments handle the truth of this discovery? How do they balance the need for transparency with the fear that such a revelation could destabilize societies, economies, and global order? In the absence of clear answers from above, society itself is forced to reckon with the unknown. People around the world are watching the skies, searching for answers, and wondering how this will change their lives. The fear of the unknown is palpable. How will humanity respond when we are confronted with the undeniable truth that we are part of a much larger cosmic community? For many, this knowledge will bring wonder and hope. For others, it will spark fear and existential crisis. The psychological impact of such a discovery cannot be underestimated. The sense of isolation that has defined humanity's relationship with the universe for millennia will disappear, and in its place will be the humbling realization that we are just one part of a vast interconnected web of life and intelligence. The loss of that isolation, once a comforting certainty, will be a jarring shock to the collective human psyche. At the individual level, the response to 3i Atlas will be deeply personal. How do you prepare for something you cannot fully understand? How do you process the reality that everything you believed about life, about the universe, is now subject to change? Some will look to religion for answers, seeking solace in faith as they try to make sense of the arrival of extraterrestrial intelligence. Others may turn to science, hoping that the discovery of new technologies and new knowledge will provide a clearer understanding of our place in the universe. Still, others will struggle to reconcile their deeply held beliefs with the new reality that is unfolding before them. The psychological and emotional toll of this revelation will be profound. There is no manual for how to process the unimaginable, and as a species, we are left to navigate the vast uncertainty ahead. In the midst of this uncertainty, there are also opportunities. The arrival of 3i Atlas could unlock technological marvels that will revolutionize life on Earth. The potential for new energy sources, advanced propulsion systems, and even breakthroughs in communication and artificial intelligence is staggering. If 3i Atlas is indeed a piece of advanced extraterrestrial technology, then it could serve as the key to solving some of humanity's most pressing problems, from climate change to resource scarcity to the limitations of space exploration. But this knowledge comes with great responsibility. As we move toward a future where the boundaries of what is possible are continually expanding, we must also confront the ethical implications of this newfound power. How do we ensure that the technologies and knowledge we uncover are used for the greater good? Who decides how they will be applied, and what safeguards will be put in place to prevent misuse? As humanity grapples with the arrival of 3i Atlas, we are forced to ask ourselves some of the most profound questions we have ever faced. What does it mean to be human in a universe that is far more complex than we ever imagined? How do we navigate a world where the rules are constantly shifting, where the very nature of reality is being redefined? And perhaps most importantly, how do we prepare for the future, knowing that we are about to step into a new chapter of human history, one that could forever change the course of our species? The countdown has begun, and the world is watching. The arrival of 3i Atlas is not just an astronomical event, it is the beginning of a new era. How we respond as individuals and as a species will define the future of humanity. We're standing on the edge of the unimaginable, and the choices we make now will echo through the ages. With the arrival of 3i Atlas, the landscape of space exploration is forever altered. What once felt like distant dreams, colonizing other planets, reaching beyond the confines of our solar system, establishing humanity as a multi-planetary species, suddenly feels not just possible, but inevitable. The presence of this mysterious object, with its precision and its undeniable implications, opens a door to possibilities that were once the realm of science fiction. As 3i Atlas draws closer, and the revelations surrounding it continue to unfold, the world stands on the threshold of a new era, one where humanity's future in the cosmos is no longer a far-off ambition, but a tangible, achievable reality. For generations, space exploration has been the domain of dreams and speculation. From the moment humankind first gazed up at the stars, we have wondered what lies beyond our Earth. Yet, despite our remarkable achievements, landing on the Moon, sending probes to the edges of the solar system, sending rovers to Mars, we have still been confined to our own corner of the universe. The vastness of space, with its countless stars, galaxies, and mysteries, has always felt just beyond our grasp. But with the arrival of 3i Atlas, that vast expanse no longer feels so unreachable. The object's arrival is a reminder that the universe is far more accessible, far more interconnected than we ever imagined. It is a symbol of what lies ahead, a future where humanity's presence is felt beyond Earth. The implications for space exploration are profound. If 3i Atlas is indeed a piece of technology far beyond our own, perhaps even the product of an advanced extraterrestrial intelligence, then it may hold the key to unlocking the next phase of space travel. The very technologies embedded within the object could revolutionize our understanding of propulsion, energy, and communication. If we can understand how 3i Atlas moves through space, how it manipulates light and energy, we might be able to adapt those principles to our own spacecraft. The dream of interstellar travel, once relegated to the pages of science fiction, could suddenly become a possibility. If we can replicate or reverse engineer the propulsion technology behind 3i Atlas, we could finally break the bonds of our solar system, paving the way for human exploration beyond the stars. Equally transformative is the potential for colonizing other planets. For years, Mars has been the focal point of human efforts to extend our reach beyond Earth. With the knowledge and technology we have today, we've made great strides, sending rovers, planning manned missions, and studying its potential to support human life. But the arrival of 3i Atlas changes everything. If the object is indeed capable of manipulating planetary environments, as some theories suggest, it could provide the key to terraforming Mars, transforming it into a habitable world in ways we've only dreamed of. But the implications go even further. If 3i Atlas is part of a larger interstellar network, then Mars could be the first step in a much grander plan, a plan that could eventually see humanity settle on multiple planets, moons, and even beyond our solar system. The next wave of space exploration will not be limited to the slow and methodical pace that has characterized much of our efforts up until now. The revelation of 3i Atlas is a call to action, a sign that humanity is capable of achieving far more than we thought possible. Space agencies around the world are already gearing up for the next phase of exploration. The data being collected from 3i Atlas will no doubt fuel a surge of research and development, driving new innovations in technology, science, and engineering. But the private sector too will play a pivotal role. Companies like SpaceX, Blue Origin, and others are already working to bring humanity to Mars and beyond, and the discovery of 3i Atlas will undoubtedly accelerate this drive. But beyond the technological and logistical challenges of space exploration, the arrival of 3i Atlas also signals a shift in humanity's mindset. For centuries, we have looked to the stars with wonder, but also with a sense of limitation, thinking of space as something vast and unreachable. Now, with the possibility of contact with extraterrestrial intelligence, the vastness of space no longer feels quite as insurmountable. We're no longer just inhabitants of Earth, we are citizens of the cosmos, part of an ever-expanding universe filled with untold possibilities. The arrival of 3i Atlas pushes us to think bigger, to embrace the unknown with confidence, and to reimagine what is possible for humanity. The new era of space exploration is not just about technology, it's about the future of humanity itself. As we stand on the precipice of this new chapter, we are faced with profound questions. How will we use the knowledge and technologies revealed by 3i Atlas? What responsibilities do we have to the universe, to other civilizations, and to ourselves as we expand our presence in space? The potential is limitless, but so too is the need for careful consideration. As we embark on this journey into the stars, we must remember that space exploration is not just about discovering new worlds, it's about discovering our place in the grand design of the universe. The arrival of 3i Atlas is a moment that will define the future. It marks the beginning of a new era in space exploration, one where humanity no longer looks to the stars with uncertainty, but with the knowledge that we have the capacity to reach them. What was once unimaginable is now within our grasp, and the journey ahead promises to be nothing short of transformative. The future of humanity and the cosmos is no longer a distant dream. It is a reality waiting to unfold. As the days stretch towards the final moment, a sense of inevitability hangs over humanity. When 3i Atlas passes through our solar system, when its secrets are laid bare, we will reach a turning point in human history, an inflection point that will forever change the way we understand our place in the cosmos. It's a moment that will resonate through the ages, one we will look back on as the time when everything changed. The era of isolation, of believing that Earth was the only cradle of intelligent life, will come to an end. The universe will no longer be a vast and empty expanse, but a teeming landscape filled with possibilities, some comforting, others terrifying. Whether we embrace this new reality or resist it, the truth is now undeniable. The world we once knew is gone, and in its place is something vast, something unknown, and something that will forever alter the course of humanity. The arrival of 3 Atlas isn't just a scientific breakthrough. It is the moment humanity comes face to face with the reality that we are not the only sentient beings in the universe. For centuries we've speculated about the existence of extraterrestrial life, imagining that somewhere out there, in the dark void of space, another civilization might be waiting to make contact. But we've always done so with the understanding that we would never truly know, that the answers would always be just beyond our reach. Now, with 3 Atlas, the answers are no longer distant. They are here, at our doorstep, forcing us to confront the truth we've long feared. We are not alone. For those who have followed the stars for years, this moment is both exhilarating and overwhelming. The dreams of explorers and scientists, the hopes of generations who looked up at the night sky and wondered, are suddenly becoming real. But for others, this revelation is unsettling. The idea that humanity is just one species among many, in an endless cosmos, forces us to reconsider everything. Our history, our religion, our identity, all of these things have been built on the premise that we are unique, that our intelligence, our existence is the pinnacle of creation. 3I Atlas challenges this notion in a way that cannot be ignored. What happens when we realize that our place in the universe is not so special after all? That the cosmos is full of intelligence, of purpose, of design? It is a revelation that forces us to reconsider our future, our destiny, and our role in the grand narrative of existence. The question that now looms over humanity is not whether we will accept this new reality, but how we will respond to it. Will we embrace the possibilities of a universe filled with intelligent life? Or will we retreat, clinging to the old ways of thinking, resisting the truth that is now unfolding before us? Some may choose to embrace this new era, seeing it as an opportunity to evolve, to push the boundaries of what is possible, to step into a new age of discovery and cooperation. Others may fight against it, rejecting the uncomfortable truths and the unsettling changes that accompany the arrival of 3 Atlas. It's a choice that will define the future of our species, whether we rise to the challenge of becoming a true part of a cosmic community, or whether we continue to exist in the shadows, isolated and afraid of what lies beyond our planet. As we stand on the brink of this new era, we must also confront the responsibility that comes with this knowledge. 3 Atlas is not just a message, it is a challenge. It is a call to action, a signal from the stars that we are not alone, that the universe is far more complex and interconnected than we ever imagined. But what will we do with this knowledge? How will we use the technology, the understanding, and the potential that it offers? Will we be wise enough to navigate this new reality, or will we fall victim to our own fears, greed, and misunderstanding? This is the moment when humanity must choose its path forward, a path that could lead to enlightenment and progress, or one that could doom us to repeat the mistakes of the past. When we look back on this time, we will remember it as the moment when everything changed. It is the moment when the walls of our isolation came crashing down, and we realized that we are just one part of a much larger, far grander cosmic story. We are at the beginning of a journey that will span generations, a journey that will forever reshape our understanding of life, of technology, and of the universe itself. The truth is out there, no longer a mystery but a reality we must learn to navigate. This is the moment we've been waiting for. The arrival of 3 Atlas is not just the discovery of an object, it is the discovery of our place in the vast interconnected universe. It is the beginning of a new chapter in human history, one that will be written not just by us, but by the civilizations that came before us and the ones that will follow. What happens next will be determined by how we respond, by how we choose to face the unknown and embrace the unimaginable. The future is here, and it is ours to shape. I hope you enjoyed exploring the mysteries of 3I Atlas with us. What do you believe is really going on behind the scenes? Leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe for the latest updates on this cosmic event.